Hey now, Judy Moulton, Grateful Mindset Properties Realty Radio Show host, coming to you live Saturday mornings, 9 a.m. on WKHP, where the heavens kiss the peaks, 107.7 FM, AM 1450. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, on YouTube, on gratefulmindsetproperties.com, on WHKP.com. We're on social media, we're on video, we're live on air, and we are so grateful to have you listening each week to us as we bring human interests, art, culture, special guests, and a tad of real estate. So today's show is sponsored by Quality Home Consultants, and I'm really grateful actually to have the owner, Jim Rauland of Quality Home Consultants, on the show today. But I'd like to talk a little bit about Quality Home Consultants before I bring them on, so please stick around. So Quality Home Consultants has been serving all of Western North Carolina for home inspections, for 35,000 home inspections since 1998. They started performing home inspections in 1998. They repair and install septic systems. They perform termite, radon, water testing, well inspections. They truly are a one-stop shop. And I have Jim on, which I'm really grateful for. And it's funny because I'm going to be referring a buyer that just made an offer for a home. It was accepted here in Hendersonville. So he is, going to be the first person that I think of, the first company I think of, qualityhomeconsultants.com. They also can be reached at 828-687-8221. Again, that's 828-687-8221, or online at qualityhomeconsultants.com. But I'm going to be having him on in a few moments. I'm going to really let him talk more about who they are, what they do, and what they love, and all the great things that they share in our lovely neck of the woods of Western North Carolina. Before I do that, let me talk a little bit about real estate. So tad about real estate. So right now, 6.2 more or less percent is the interest rate for the 15-year. 6.8% is the 30-year. Now, obviously, you can buy down the rate. You can reach out to me, and I can recommend 3 wonderful lenders that I work with, loan officers that I work with here locally that I love to talk about and share their information. So interest rates are pretty much staying the same. Interest rates and what we're dealing with in the economy have affected housing, the market. We have quite a few properties on the market right now. We've got buyers, we've got sellers. But as I've been talking about for the past couple of months, we are really in a balanced market. We're seeing single wides and double wides. Jim and I were just talking about this offline before we started the radio show today, and we're seeing $350,000 for a single or double wide. And, I did not see that when I moved here in 2018. That is just, they were 160,000, 200,000, but now we are 350,000 for a single or double wide. We are 450,000 across the United States is the median price point for a single family stick-built home. But we still are in the missing middle. What we're seeing pretty much across the board, especially here in Western North Carolina, a lot of townhomes, a lot of condos being built. We still really need more homes to be built in that median price point. We've got 2 1s and 2 2s selling in the 350 to 400,000 price point here in Hendersonville or in Asheville. You can still find a pretty good deal if you want to buy about 45-minute drive from the Asheville area, or a 45-minute drive from the Hendersonville area. Areas like Rutherfordton, you can get a good deal. Areas like Black Mountain, nope. But areas like Burnsville, yes. Where else? Let me think. Some areas of Weaverville, some areas of Alexander, and Canton is a big one. Waynesville and Canton, you can still get a good deal on a price for a stick-built home, 350 to 450 range. But reach out for any reason, 828-290-0940. Judy Moulton, Grateful Mindset Properties, your Realty Radio Show host. Grateful Mindset Properties has been in existence since 2020. We serve Western North Carolina in particular, anywhere in the state of North Carolina. But on the MLS, we have Tennessee, we've got Virginia, we've got Georgia, we've got South Carolina, we've got North Carolina. I can help you in any area. I can refer to agents outside of the area. But let's talk a little bit about what's on the market right now. So coming soon, we've got about 15 new listings in the area. We've got about 20 back on market. We've got about 5. Price decreases are in the same boat as the new listings. We've got 20 and 20 price increases. We've got a handful. You know, there hasn't changed. We do have prices going up. They are not necessarily coming down unless they need quite a bit of work, or they're in areas that are a little further out, as I just mentioned a few moments ago. But just going back to some lending stuff that I think is important to mention, I talked about the 6.8 more or less for the 30-year, 6.2 for the 15-year. Some of the reasons that we are steady or holding tight on those ranges, we haven't hit the May through October, which is the prime time to sell and buy. This is where we'll see most inventory on the market. So we're still in that balanced market, but as soon as we hit May through October, that's where we'll hit a little bit more of those bidding wars. We'll see a little bit more of price increases, a lot less decreases. So some of the things that hold tight right now, Fed meetings, there are 10 times a year the Fed will meet. The Federal Reserve will meet to talk about the market. We'll talk about short-term bank rates, what's called the producer price index. These are things that mortgage lenders look at. They are part of what the cost price index that produces sort of, hey, this is where we set these rates and the limits. World events, obviously, you know, we've got interest rates, but also the things that affect housing, you know, employment shifts, you know, food, all the material goods, things that, you know, what's the name of that? Why can I not think of that right now? What is the name of things? One of the biggest producers. God, I'm going to come back to that. But anyways, so lending guidelines, products and programs are a big part. Rates, rental rates, which have increased about 2% from last year to this year. Those are some of the big things. Inflation. There's the word. What that? Thank you for laughing, Jim.
Sorry.
Inflation is no. I'm like,
I was
why?
trying to figure it out.
Yeah, inflation is a big word. So inflation, interest rates are big barometers, but that lead the market. All of these things, besides I mentioned the Fed and the programs, have an effect on interest rates. So I'd like to bring Jim on. I'm done talking about real estate. We'll come back to it in a few moments, but Jim Rauland, Quality Home Consultants, what brings you in today?
Well, we are here to talk about home inspections and all the services that we can provide for home buyers and home sellers, as well as homeowners.
Okay. So talk a little bit about that. So tell me, you know, Quality Home 1998,
yeah.
Okay, 35,000 plus.
Yeah.
That is something you're like, oh my goodness, that is pretty big.
We're so blessed, yeah.
Yeah, very blessed.
Yeah.
So talk about that.
We enjoy helping people, and really it comes down to when we do a home inspection, we're helping somebody buy a house. We're not there to tear a house apart, we're there to help them. We're a tool for them to use to buy a house. So
or sell, because you can do pre-listing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, and even we have programs for homeowners too. So we'll get to that in a minute.
Okay, please.
But
and I interrupt a lot, so just so you know that.
Oh yeah, well that's good. I mean that's good. I need some of these questions so I won't forget what to tell the folks about. But so on the buyer's side, we have a couple of programs. You know, the traditional way of doing it, a buyer will go to with their realtor, go find a house, they'll put it under contract. They say, okay, now that we have it under contract, we need to get all these inspections. Mm-hmm. So we do everything. We do everything short of appraisals and surveying. So if you need a well inspection, a radon, termite, home inspection, radon, we do septic, pumping, inspections. Mm-hmm. We do it all. So one-stop shop. One-stop shop. One call does it all.
One call does it all. Love it.
Yeah. So
one and done.
Yeah, and it saves them time.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're in a market where they're trying to compete against other buyers, and you can get all this stuff done all at once and make up your mind on this property or not, then then it's advantageous for them to.
It's one thing to take off the to-do list. There's enough sort of frenzy and mental energy, that's focused on the buying and all the stuff they got to do. And it's like, okay, if I can just, hey, I've got one place I can go to get all these things done. It is definitely a gift.
We make it easy for them, and it's not like we have a bunch of new guys in there doing inspections and they have to worry about getting the best in each field. We have seasoned professionals, 35,000 home inspections in Western North Carolina. All of our guys have been in the building trade. Mm-hmm. So I never hire, we have 8 inspectors.
Okay.
So I never hire an inspector that's not built a house.
Gotcha.
So and the reason for that is
that's a good point.
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
They can go to a school and learn how to do home inspections. And it's a 100-hour online course at a 2-week in the field, and all of a sudden they're a home inspector.
Did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. So now, if they see a funny, I've inspected houses from 1755.
Yeah.
So what happens when that house isn't being inspected? Nothing is to code. So what prepares them to know if this is okay or not okay? It's the guys that are building houses. They know how things are put together, and the reason they're put together that way. So, they don't do it that way anymore, but it's going to be okay the way they have it. They just don't do it like that anymore. Or, it's not okay. See, our guys will know the difference instead of being in that checklist. I went to school and they didn't cover this.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of thing.
And that's interesting. So I know code changes all the time. I just met with somebody from Hendersonville code office the other day about a project. So code changes all the time. So do you guys have to did you stay up on all that and because of some of the changes that occur depending on a house or whatever?
So we don't.
Okay. How does that factor?
As a general contractor, which I am, and I have a couple
Okay.
in the office, we have 3 general contractors.
So then you guys do because you're required to.
Right. And we have continuing education for general contractors as well as our continuing education for the home inspection field.
Good.
But we don't do that as a home inspection.
Okay.
As a home inspection, we're looking at the house. Is it safe? And is it functioning as it's intended? Because, when I first moved here in 1995 from Southern California, I had my first big project. I was a general contractor, was remodeling the Woodfield Inn. And it was built in 1849 or something like that. And, what's the code with that building? Nothing. Right. So
is it going to be up to code? No, not if it's built in 1849.
Nothing.
Not to current code.
Right. So nothing.
So you already know that.
Yeah. So a home inspection, if you're trying to go off of code, then there's nothing. The whole thing didn't work. So
right. Makes sense.
Is it functioning as intended? Yeah. Okay. These areas are. Is this going to be a problem in the future? We can tell them. Oftentimes, hey, this is okay, even though it's not done the way we do it today, or eventually this is not going to work and it's going to be a problem for you. And that's the experience that we have. And we have a crew that can we have a chat that somebody will take a picture, one inspector will take a picture, hey guys, have you seen this before? And then 7 other guys go, oh yeah, we saw this last week or whatever. So we have a good support group between the 8 inspectors.
Which is awesome. And it's awesome to hear about the experience piece, because what's the joke? I always forget, something about something pay twice, cut what?
Yeah. Measure twice, cut once.
There you go.
Yeah. That's a general contractor thing, right?
My husband's a GC, so I'm like, I remember that one.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Instead of, if you cut it after, and it's short, and there's no board stretchers.
Right. So it's important that you guys have the knowledge, the experience, and then also, when I've had to hire, sometimes you guys aren't available, so I have had to hire other inspectors.
We'll forgive you.
Thank you for the forgiveness. But yeah, the reality is it's all pretty much the same price, except you guys, because you are all in-house and do the one-stop shop, you actually have a little bit of a discount, because if you're doing the septic, this X, Y, and Z, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct?
And most other companies, I don't know of any other company that has in-house septic. So we have 3 trucks that do the pumping. We inspect inside the tank. We probe the drain field, make sure the drain field's not too saturated. And a lot of folks don't think that, hey, it's underground, I don't have to worry about it. But septic systems can be a big issue.
Yeah, believe me.
So it sounds like you've had some issues with it.
Some were that like 40 feet down. And it's unsafe.
Yeah.
As you know, you can't. Well, sorry, we're not going to be able to do anything. It's got to stay where it is. It's been there 40 plus years, and we're going to leave it alone because it's working, but there's no guarantee when that will no longer function.
So we also have programs that help people they don't understand septic systems that come from wherever. Even people that have had them before. That I've always been told, if if it's not broke, don't fix it, don't touch it, don't mess with it.
Right.
And it's not the way of doing it. It's like you can do that with your car.
Yeah.
I don't want to change the oil. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Well, eventually it's going to break.
Yeah.
So we have programs for our people that have used us for the home inspection and septic to help them understand how to take care of a septic system. We give them some additives.
Right.
We come out annually, or we can come out every 3 years and get it pumped, and they can have peace of mind that that's going to work, and we can see ahead of time instead of them calling us one rainy Sunday night saying,
God forbid,
yeah, it's in my basement or whatever.
Right. So the preventative maintenance measure is important for sure.
Yeah.
What else?
We're
destroying insects, same thing. The things that you put out, the discs or whatever, and then there's like a program for that, right?
We don't do that, but we recommend folks that can do that for you.
Okay.
We do the actual wood destroying insect inspection.
Yes.
And so we can look around and make sure that the house is not infested at that time, and then they can get on a program with a pest control company to go ahead and get preventative maintenance then. Part of our buyers programs that we have, and I'm not sure if it's my fault if I haven't told you.
I'm listening.
I need to get this out to more agents because it works so well. If somebody is interested in buying a house and there's going to be multiple offers,
yes,
and it's going to be a high due diligence payment that's non-refundable, we have 8 inspectors, so we'll send one of them to your showing. Okay, I want to make a best offer, but I'm really afraid that the heating system might not be good, or I'm worried that the roof might not be good.
So you'll come with us on a show. That's actually, okay, I'm listening to this, I'm like, yes, that is super helpful.
Every time we do this, the agent calls back and says, oh,
you just made our life so much easier.
We got it, because we did this
oh God,
walkthrough.
Yeah. No one's ever said that before.
Yeah.
That I'm very grateful to hear that. Thank you.
So yeah,
sorry, continue.
I did one 2 days ago, and we don't promote this, but we did the walkthrough inspection. So we're not doing a full blown home inspection.
Right.
We're showing, hey, the structure's good, the roof is good, the HVAC has got some life left to it. So they said, oh, okay, I'm not afraid of this house anymore. I'm gonna put $30,000 more on this offer, you know, and because now I don't have to worry about that, and I'm not even gonna get a home inspection. I'm just gonna give them a full price offer, or this price offer, no inspection.
You feel this sort of lowers that stress level, that that unhealthy stress that kind of comes up when you're thinking of what to offer, and although as an agent, I'm giving them all those examples of what to offer, still that helps all of us know something, like, well, we don't know what we don't know, because we can't see behind the walls, we don't know the electrical whatever, the things that you can see just by knowing in terms of your knowledge base. Is there a cost for a pre-purchase?
Yeah, we do it for $300.
Okay.
Business hours.
Okay.
$400 after hours. So if it's a Saturday evening at 6 o'clock, we'll send somebody out there.
Okay.
And they'll make an offer, at 6 o'clock, and they'll get it accepted that night. And it's you have this extra knowledge that nobody else has.
Okay.
While you're trying to, your folks have that extra knowledge, and everybody else is going, well, I'm afraid there might be a structural issue, or this house looks kind of run down, but I don't know what to feel about it, so I'm not going to bid as much, or whatever it is. Your folks that already have this pre-walkthrough inspection come armed with all this information.
You're gonna have to send me your new rate sheet, because I don't remember that. That's definitely new to me.
Yeah.
And then pre-listing, I think, is about the same, isn't it?
Yeah, same as home inspection. So
yeah, it's the same pricing if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And the same inspection is a buyer's inspection and a seller's inspection is the same.
Right.
Because if we do a pre-listing inspection, we're going to inform your seller. Mm-hmm. The next home inspector that comes through here is going to find this. Mm-hmm. So you can fix the things you want to fix, or you can disclose the things so that when a buyer comes, that they already know about it. It takes takes that guesswork out of it. They can make an offer, and they're not going to renegotiate. If you say, hey, I need a new roof, and I've priced my property accordingly, mm-hmm. then a buyer comes in saying, okay, I know you need a new roof, and I'm going to give you this much money. do we have a deal? And you say, okay, we're under contract. Oh, now I want to renegotiate for that roof. It just doesn't work that way, you know?
Right. No, exactly. Like having the, what is it called? Knowledge is power. We're using a lot of old adages today, or familiar ones.
Yeah.
And so, that for sure is a piece of knowledge that helps across the board to make a really astute decision about, what do I want to offer? And I don't, the roof is it could be 10,000, it could be 26, it could all, depending on its size, whatever kind that people need or want. Yeah, so that's a big ticket item.
Especially for somebody.
Foundation and other.
We're talking about some
retaining walls.
I can go
down the list, sorry.
All that stuff.
Right.
And we're talking about affordability of some of these houses
Right.
here. And so if somebody's going, okay, I can get into a house that's X amount of dollars and my payment has to be here, they're not going to be able to afford 20 grand for a new roof right away. So they're going to want to make sure that they have either negotiate a new one or money towards one, or they're going to want to find a house that they know that they're not going to get stuck with, that they can't afford to buy a new roof, and it's going to fail in the next year.
Well, and I'm going to piggyback on this stuff because it's just the way my brain works. I'm very tangential, so I jump quite a bit. But I'm just showing a property in Rutherfordton, and I've shown a few properties lately in Rutherfordton, and in particular, and I'm seeing a lot of foreclosures. And it's interesting that we're having this conversation because one of the reasons that foreclosures happen, obviously someone can't afford, part of that is because they buy it and they have to fix things.
Right.
And so here we are talking about a preventative measure, and so that's a big piece of it because God forbid, I mean, it sickens me when I have to see that, and you feel bad for that person who now can't no longer live in that home and is now moving with their child or their whatever the reason, right? Hopefully they've got a safe place to live. But that's happening. There's a lot more of the foreclosure piece, especially if they've, done a recast, refinanced, whatever it is, and now interest rates are higher. So these are things to consider. And so if you can get as much information, if you're armed with as much information as possible in the front end,
right,
then you can deal with, you don't have to deal with some of that stuff in the back.
And that's what they're looking for, because then they can get all the information they need to make an informed decision on, can I afford this house? Even though I can make the payment, well, I'm going to have to fix all these other things. And am I going to be able to fix this if I'm just barely making my house payment? So maybe I need to move to a little bit cheaper home, less expensive. I don't want to use cheap.
No, but whatever cost benefit analysis, dollar per dollar, it's less expensive.
Less expensive, so that if something comes up, then I can afford to fix this. If my furnace is going to go out, or if it's on it's still working, but it's 30 years old. It's not going to last another 30 years. So, but they know that, okay, I'm going to be facing this expense fairly soon. So I can't just get strapped into a house that I can barely afford the payment and then expect to buy a new furnace in 2 years. So, which is a good segue to my next.
Please.
So we are an exclusive partner to 210 Warranty.
Okay.
And
I'm familiar.
They've chosen us to be the home inspection company for this area to give a warranted inspection. So it costs nothing extra for a buyer to get it, but if we do
I'm listening. I'm just going to write myself a note to remember to contact 210 because I forgot. Sorry, continue.
Okay, all right. If we do the home inspection and your buyer wants to get a home warranty, then we can send our inspection to 210, and there will be no pre-existing exclusions. So a lot of times.
I can't tell you how helpful what he said. This is why I'm writing a note to contact them because this is huge. Because I've had that happen. So basically what happens with the 210 or a home warranty, you have up to a year to basically purchase that. A lot of people buy property and it may have like an oil heater or something that is at the last leg or whatever. And because of its age or something, it can be excluded. But what you're talking about right now.
Right. So they trust our inspection enough to say, hey, when I was there, it was working. They said, fine, it's covered, and we're not going to disqualify that because of
that
the
is
age.
Huge.
Yeah,
that is huge.
That's another good reason to call us. We're the only ones that they allow to do that. And what a benefit to our buyers. On the flip side, here's another great thing for your selling side. You can include that. We could do a pre-listing inspection and have a warranted inspection.
Yep.
And you can tell them that this is not going to get declined because of the age.
Mm-hmm.
We might have a 25 or 30-year-old furnace
Mm-hmm.
and water heater and a 30-year-old stove.
Mm-hmm.
All this stuff is going to be fixed within this warranty period if it goes out because quality did the inspection.
That's great. Oh, that's really another bonus, another plus, another thing to remember.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Wow. So, I'm trying to think of, and some of the things we were talking about offline. I know we talked about single wides, double wides, pricing. How's the market? You're asking me the big question that real estate agents get asked all the time, right? How's the market? So, missing middle still happening. I know I talked about townhouses, condos, especially here in Western North Carolina. We're seeing a lot being built. We definitely need to see more in that 350, 450, just a stick-built home with little pieces of land would be great. We do have quite a bit of inventory coming on soon. I've got several sellers that are going to be listing, but we're looking at April and May. So just, please keep that in mind. Stuff comes on the market every single day. It really behooves you to hire, licensed, knowledgeable professionals like Quality Home or myself, to kind of work with you to make sure your needs are being met. I can't tell you the number of people who think I'm going to sell my home without an agent and think that they're going to get a lot of buyers. That's not the way to go about it, I will tell you, because a lot of buyers are represented. We're seeing that more and more. There's been a lot of things that have changed since COVID. A lot less, I'm going to talk about sellers and buyers right now. A lot of sellers right now used to be that sellers would pay, a big part of fees, and now they're putting a lot more fees on the buyer. I'm not going to talk about what those fees are. I can't, but I can tell you that we are seeing that a lot more. So that is something to keep in mind. There's also a big push right now in the mortgage industry, in the lending industry, to see some of those fees go onto a loan versus a buyer having to pay more out of pocket. So this is some of the stuff that's being lobbied right now. There's a lot that's happening in real estate, and why you want to hire someone who knows a lot about real estate or about home building, home inspection, and so on, whether it be you're selling or buying. Even if you're buying land, there's lots of things to look out for. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
Well, I can tell you, attest to what you're saying, because we've done 35,000 plus home inspections in Western North Carolina, and the realtors keep these deals together. So we've had for sale by owner situations, and it just goes off the rails, and there's nobody to keep it intact and keep people, what their ultimate goal is, to buy that house.
Right. That's why we're transaction coordinators. Our job is to help you every step of the way, from the inspection, whether you're pre-purchasing or you're pre-listing it, till the very last moment, and even years later, just following up and doing reviews. So we are almost out of time. I just want to thank Jim Rauland, Quality Home Consultants. Jim, how can people reach you?
You can get us online at qualityhomeconsultants.com, or our phone number is 828-687-7221, and we'd be happy to help you with whatever real estate needs you have.
Thank you. That was Jim Rauland with Quality Home Consultants. I'm Judy Moulton with Grateful Mindset Properties. Thank you for listening to our show. We really appreciate it. 107.7 FM, WKHP, where the heavens kiss the peaks. Judy Moulton, GratefulMindsetProperties.com, 828-290-0940. Again, Grateful Mindset Properties, Realty Radio Show host. Thank you.